Ford Galaxie 500 name has been dead for over half a century, and that's exactly why this next-generation concept lands like a controversy before anyone's even opened the door. I'm your host to Automotive Pulse, and if you've been with me for a while, you know I don't care about press releases or marketing decks. I care about what a car actually means to the person who drives it. And this one means something complicated. Because reviving a nameplate this old is either an act of genius or an act of desperation, depending on who you ask in the comments below this video. Before I even get to what's under the hood, I have to tell you about a decision the engineering team made that's going to split this audience straight down the middle. It involves the transmission, and it's the kind of choice that either proves this car understands its own soul or completely betrays it. Let's start with what you see, because before this engine ever turns over, the proportions are already talking to you. The stance is wide, low, and planted in a way that feels aggressive without feeling nervous. The hood is long, sculpted with intakes that aren't decoration, they're function, feeding a chassis that clearly wants to breathe. The fastback roofline sweeps backward with a tension that echoes the original Galaxie's full-size American presence, except now it's been compressed, tightened, turned into something closer to a modern grand tourer wearing muscle car clothing. The lighting signature up front is thin, sharp, almost surgical, a deliberate contrast against a face that's otherwise all mass and confidence. Out back, quad exhaust tips sit nestled in a carbon diffuser that tells you this isn't a styling exercise. Someone engineered airflow here. Someone cared about what happens underneath the car, not just what happens on top of it. The wheels are wrapped in rubber that looks like it was chosen for grip first and vanity second, and the fender flares pull outward just enough to hint that there's real width to the rear axle, real width to whatever's about to make this thing move. Now here's where I have to talk about the transmission decision I teased earlier. Word is the internal engineering targets emphasize a dual clutch setup, but there's been real debate about whether Ford should have kept a traditional automatic here for the sake of long-distance comfort and cost control. A dual clutch means faster shifts and a more connected, more aggressive personality. It also means a stiffer, more mechanical low-speed experience that isn't for everyone. This is the compromise baked into the car's DNA, and it's a legitimate one. Some enthusiasts are going to love the rawness. Others are going to wish for something smoother in daily traffic. Both reactions are fair. Underneath that long hood, industry estimates and engineering direction point toward a supercharged V8, projected somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 to 900 horsepower, paired with a chassis tuned for rear-wheel drive theater rather than all-wheel drive safety nets. That number isn't confirmed, but it's believable for a car wearing this kind of proportion and this kind of ambition. And that horsepower figure means nothing until you hear what it sounds like waking up. Turn the key, or more accurately, press the start button, and there's a beat of silence before the starter catches, like the car is gathering itself. Then the V8 fires with a deep, chest-level thump, uneven for a half second, before settling into an idle that isn't polite. It's a rolling, muscular lope, the kind of idle that vibrates through the seat and into your spine. Roll into the throttle, and the exhaust note doesn't scream. It grows, thickening into a low, violent roar that feels less like noise and more like weight pressing against your eardrums. The supercharger whine layers on top, a mechanical whistle cutting through the bass. Upshifts land with a sharp metallic crack, the dual clutch snapping through gears fast enough that the engine barely has time to exhale before the next gear grabs. Push it toward the red line, and the whole cabin seems to compress around you, sound and vibration merging into something closer to a physical sensation than an auditory one. And yet, lift off the throttle in cruise mode, and the cabin isolation is genuinely impressive. Wind noise suppressed, road texture filtered into a distant hum rather than an intrusion. Open the door, and the first thing you notice is the weight of it. Substantial, engineered, not tinny. The seating position drops you low and wraps you in bolstering that's supportive without ever feeling clinical. The steering wheel is thick-rimmed, finished in a leather that has just enough texture to remind your hands. This is a performance car, not a luxury cruiser pretending to be one. There's a scent inside, leather and something faintly metallic, like the smell of a workshop that's been cleaned but never fully erased. Ambient lighting traces the door panels and dash in a warm amber glow that shifts subtly depending on drive mode, quietly reinforcing the car's mood without shouting about it. The infotainment display is integrated into the dash, rather than bolted on top of it, a deliberate design philosophy that treats technology as part of the architecture instead of an afterthought. Stitching on the seats is deliberate, quilted, the kind of detail that tells you somebody in a design studio actually cared whether your thumb noticed the difference between good leather and great leather. The technology inside is there to support you, not to overwhelm you. Adaptive driver assistance systems, over-the-air update capability, and connectivity features are all present, engineered to quietly reduce friction in daily life, rather than to dazzle you with screens. Autonomous support features step in during highway monotony, so your attention stays fresh for the moments that actually matter. And safety systems work in the background, watching without hovering. Now let's talk about actually driving it. The steering is quick without being twitchy, weighted in a way that communicates road surface honestly rather than filtering it into vagueness. Throttle response is immediate, almost eager, the kind of pedal that rewards a light touch just as much as a heavy one. Braking feel is firm and progressive, confidence-inspiring rather than grabby. The suspension, tuned toward a firmer performance character, transmits road texture with clarity. You feel the pavement change beneath you. Though this firmness is the honest trade-off for the chassis control that makes the car feel so composed under hard cornering. Long-distance comfort takes a slight hit for that decision, a subtle but real limitation worth acknowledging. Chassis balance leans toward neutral with a hint of rear bias, the kind of setup that rewards a driver who understands weight transfer rather than one who simply mashes the pedal. In the first few seconds of acceleration, the seat holds you firmly as the car surges forward with a shove that feels mechanical and honest, not synthetic. Pricing is expected to land in the mid-$60,000 to low $70,000 range, positioned as a genuine performance proposition rather than a luxury flex. And here's the real question. Is it worth that money? I'd argue yes, but not because of the horsepower number or the carbon fiber trim. You're paying for a piece of American automotive identity that's been resurrected with real engineering intent behind it, not just nostalgia slapped onto a modern platform. You're paying for a driving experience that prioritizes feeling over spec sheet bragging rights. Where does this car sit in the landscape? It's not chasing supercar numbers, and it's not trying to be a luxury flagship either. This is positioned as a modern muscle icon with genuine grand touring ambition, aimed at redefining what a resurrected American nameplate can feel like in this era. It's the kind of car built for someone who still believes driving should feel like a conversation between man and machine, someone who values the sound of an engine as much as the number on a spec sheet, someone who sees a long empty highway stretching toward the horizon and feels something closer to calling than convenience. Picture this car on a coastal highway at golden hour, or better yet, on an empty desert road at 3 in the morning. Headlights cutting through darkness, engine note echoing off nothing but silence and stars. That's where this car makes emotional sense. That's where it stops being transportation and starts being a statement. Before I give you my final thought here, I want to know something from you. Should legacy nameplates like this be revived with modern engineering? Or should Ford leave history alone and build something entirely new instead? There's a real argument on both sides, so tell me where you land in the comments. And if you want more honest breakdowns like this one, subscribe, because we're just getting started. In the end, this isn't just a car wearing an old name. It's an argument that American performance can still have soul in an era obsessed with numbers. The information presented in this video is based on current automotive industry insights, publicly available information, market trends, design analysis, and reliable reports available at the time of writing. Specifications, features, pricing, performance figures, production plans, and launch timelines discussed are estimates and projections only, and should not be considered officially confirmed unless formally announced by the manufacturer. Details are subject to change.
Bye.